My Lords, I join others in thanking the Noble Lord Bragg for securing this debate and introducing it so beautifully, even if when I hear his mellifluous tones I can't help thinking we're about to venture off into the life of the astronomer Caroline Herschel, or a recent favourite in our times of mind, the evolution of crocodiles. The Noble Lord set out very clearly two of the gigantic threats faced by the BBC, which, although many might like to grumble about this piece of output or that, is, as an institution, a public service hugely valued by the public, and apparently, if you read the integrated review on security, etc., by the government for its place in international soft power, to which the Noble Lady Baroness J referred. Threat one is the squeezing of funding. As the Noble Lord Bragg said, it seems that the government is bent on making the BBC weaker. Threat two is what the Noble Lord again so clearly explained as the jumbo bombers from across the Atlantic. The great parasite Amazon, Netflix and other global monoliths are clearly something we need an institution to stand against. Now, the Noble Lord Vasey outlined some of the many ways in which the BBC has been cut away. Unlike him, I am not going to celebrate the loss of free educational resources, nor, I'd suggest, should the government, given its often avowed attachment to lifelong learning. Like others, the Noble Lord Vasey spoke about our broadcasting landscape. The word ecosystem has also been used. And the BBC is a big part, still, of that landscape. But that's not a part, as some with certain ideological attachments often like to claim, that squeezes out the small, the new, the innovative. Rather, the BBC is a crucial part of nurturing the talent, the innovation from such sources. It's a bulwark. Think of it perhaps as a giant sequoia tree that stands against the threat of not many, but a few giants. You might think of them as wildfire and raging flood, equally destructive certainly, of a handful of media tycoons and giant multinational companies. For, as the Media Reform Coalition highlights again, working in cooperation with the Centre for Media Data and Society in their 2021 report on media ownership, concentration is endemic. 3 firms control 90% of the national media newspaper market, up from 83% in 2019, a 7 percentage point increase. 3 local publishers control a fifth of the local press market each. Facebook controls 3 of the top 5 social media services used to read online news or access online news. 2 companies own 70% of the 279 local commercial radio stations. That, since 2018, is a 20% increase. That's not a healthy ecosystem. If the size of the BBC is reduced, then the fat caps of the oligopoly only get fatter. Now, I do agree with the Noble Lord Haddon on something. The licence fee is a poll tax and should be replaced by a hypothecated share of progressive income tax, far more progressive than it is now, with a level of funding at least restored to 2010 levels in real terms. Changing technological times are going to demand that. And I agree very strongly with the Noble Lord's story about the importance of local channels and stations of the BBC, and another failure of regulation of which we see so many, the total failure of regulators to ensure what are supposed to be local commercial radio stations actually serve those audiences. And I should perhaps declare, a long time ago and in another country, some time working as a producer on a local ABC radio station. And that feeds my great respect for the local teams that continue to produce for the BBC brilliant local content under extremely straitened funding conditions. I think of a young reporter, camerawoman, soundwoman, social media outputter who interviewed me in North Yorkshire. That is one person, of course. She was so slick, she was practically juggling the multiple digital tools of those various trades as she deployed them in the hasty 10 minutes she had with me before travelling on to her next job. We are getting very, very good value for money from that young woman and many like her. Communities value and rely on that output.